this was so masterfully written and acted out, bro. So watch.
ถ้ากอด
If I hug you,
เราจะหลับเลยใช่ไหม
that was a boundary she just set. Smaller one, but a boundary nonetheless. And then she goes, okay, so now she's going to make the allowance, understanding that they're both crossing a line here. All right, so real quick, let me do this. Now, I wanted to do a scene anatomy breakdown. I've done these for shows that I love in the past. I did it for Blank the series, and I also did it, Blank the series, child, that's what this is. I did it for Gap the series, and then I also did it for Show Me Love the series. And I've done it for a couple of other series and just scenes and stuff and different things like that. Thank you, baby. So, you know what I mean? This scene, and let me say this about this scene right here. This scene to me was one of the best scenes that I have watched from a GL series or a web series in general. And it was very little talking. It was more just like the body language, the reacting and everything like that. But I thought that this scene was so well shot. The silence of it with no music, the way that they were interacting, the way they were talking, but also just I guess it's the poignancy and the tension that they created in the moment. And it's, bruh, this joint right here, this scene, there was so much happening in this scene, even though it seems like it really wasn't. It was like they were just laying in a bed. There was so much happening in this scene. And so as I watched it the several times that I have since it came out like 4 days ago, I personally was very impressed with just the way this scene broke out and broke down. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go and get into it. And if you don't know what we're watching, it says it at the top. We are watching episode 5, the last part of the 4 parts of episode 5. This is part 4 of 4, episode 5 for Blank the series.
Come on. เป็นไรอ่ะ นอนไม่หลับเหรอ เขากลัว มันแปลกที่
Now, I'm gonna stop it right there. I'm scared to be in a strange place, and I'm in a strange place, right? Somebody else pointed this out, and last time, you know, I was reacting to the episode, and I do live reactions. Like I'm literally watching it the first time with y'all. So sometimes I catch things. I'm like really, you know, keen eagle eye, and I catch it, and then other times I don't catch things, and I kind of just have to like, you know, watch it after the fact, and I'll see it in hindsight. But somebody called out the fact that when they were at the amusement park, Nung, when they were first in line, she, you know, for the scary house, and she heard the people screaming, and she jumped, and then she held onto you know, onto Anang, into Kun Nung, and Nung was like, she was like, bro, she was like, you overreacting. She was like, you too soon. She was like, it's too soon. You overreacting. We ain't even in there yet, right? And then, you know, Kun Nung goes to the bathroom. And then Nung and old boy go in, and her parents follow them. And somebody pointed out, they was like, you see how when the zombie thing dropped, or the cat, whatever that was, that dropped open the first jump scare, and the dude jumped, but she didn't react at all. Folk jumped, but she didn't react at all. And as she was walking through there, he was like on her, like all scared, and she was like annoyed at the fact that he was even scared. And I was like, I said this before, but I didn't go deeper into it. This part right here, when she did this and she came to the door and she's standing there like a child at her parents' door, like, oh my God, I'm so scared of the dark. That's the same energy that I got when I went back and looked at that scene and I saw what that person saw, and I was like, damn, she really wasn't shook at all. She was playing it up. And then I remember going back to the very first episode and the way that she was overly satirically childish. And I was like, because she is 21 years old, and you know what I'm saying, she's 21 years old, but she's going to school, and she's in high school basically as a senior, because she started school like 4 years late, and she had to repeat a lot of classes. That it's almost like she plays up the childish factor. And hear me when I say this, right? Because this might throw y'all for a minute. But she plays up the childish thing so that she's less threatening, so that she could crawl into bed with this woman, and then she goes, oh my God, I can't sleep if you don't hug me. Since when? I doubt that you crawl in bed with your grandmother. You see what I'm saying? It's the stuff like that. And it's like, you're like, she does, and this, yes, her inner child, what I said last time was her inner child is safe with Kun Nung, which it is, but I also feel like she uses that childish behavior to come across almost more docile than she actually is. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, sneaky little mouse. Right, you see what I'm saying? Like she tries to come across like she's more docile than she actually is. Because when she got in that bed, she all of a sudden wasn't scared. She tried to spoon her. Like, what was that? And no one was like, where's this energy coming from? You know what I'm saying? Like, she was like, it's crazy. It's crazy. So then,
ขอนอนด้วยได้ไหมคะ
like, I do, like, I feel like she plays it up. Because it's almost like it's hard. She knows it's hard for her to say no to that. But then when she uses that to get in the door, then the woman in her starts to speak up. It's like she uses like the childish behavior to like get in. Did she lock the door? It feels like she locked the door. See what I'm saying? And then she's like,
ได้นอนกับอันหนึ่งตื่นเต้นจัง
sleeping in the bed with you, so excited. And she's like, yeah, right, let's go to sleep. Bruh, ain't no way. I would have got a P5 bed and did all the things too. I ain't mad at her. She took them glasses off and it was over. I'm trying to tell you. She had no intentions of sleeping in that room. she had intentions of being in that room. She had no intentions of sleeping in that room. Right, y'all talking about, and she reading that novel, right? Look, and she reading that novel. This part right here, y'all. This is what I mean when people be like, oh, I can't see it because she's a child. She's this, that, and the third. She's not childish at all. She's plotting, dog. Look at her. That's a 21-year-old woman. Like, that's what the childish thing she plays up. Like I said, I think one, yes, she does. Her inner child feels safe with Kun Nung, but I also feel like that also gets people to drop their guard around her because she's older than most of her peers. You get what I'm saying? She's older than most of her peers. So I feel like she plays up the childish thing so people drop their guard and don't feel some type of way about her. But then if she's got something that she really wants to go after, then she starts doing shit like this, bro. Look at her. That. All right, y'all. You don't gotta believe me. I'm just saying, that was my point.
ทำอะไรเนี่ย
Right. What are you doing?
มานอนหันหลังใส่กันแบบนี้ไม่ต่างอะไรกับนอนคนเดียวเลยนะคะ
You sleep alone all the time.
เรื่องเยอะจัง
Right. See, and I'm trying to tell you, Kun Nung was reading her. She was like, she was like, you doing too much. That's too much. You're too much. Like, she felt the energy she was
อยาก
getting.
ได้อะไรอีก
What do you want? Oh, now let me explain. Let me break this part down.
อยากได้อะไร
So let me break this part right here.
หลับ
Real quick. I always say real quick
มา
and
น
then
อ
I
น
take
หันหลั
5
งใส่
years.
กัน
With you sleeping like with your back turned like this, I feel like I'm sleeping alone.
แบบ
Okay.
นี้ไม่ต่างอะไรกับนอนคนเดียวเลยนะคะ
Okay.
เรื่องเยอะจัง
And then she goes, you're too much. But then she turns around and goes,
อยากได้อะไรอีก
what do you want? So this scene right here shows the dynamic between the two and why Nung is so like enthralled and in love with Arnung, Kun Nung. The reason why is because she gives her choice. Everybody around her, grandmother wants to tell her what to do, wants to control her. Her mother wants to tell her what to do, wants to control her. Her father comes in, he immediately wants a relationship with her. This boy coming in, he's like, I want to be your friend. And it's almost like everybody is coming in and establishing themselves in her life. But with Nung, Kun Nung, it's like she lets her choose her. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like she empowers her self-choice and her self-confidence. Like, okay, well, you sitting here saying that you can't sleep, like me sleeping with my back turned to you is like you sleeping alone, knowing that she sleeps alone all the time. Then she goes, you doing too much. And then she realized, and then when Nung looked downcast, she goes, what do you want? And that's when we get
กอดเขาได้ไหม
Can you hug me? Now, pay attention because, or should I save that for the end? No, I'm gonna tell you to pay attention now so you can see all the steps. Pay attention. If you're paying attention to what she's doing, she is crossing quietly and stealthily. She's crossing all of Kun Nung's boundaries, her lines in the sand. She starts with knocking at the door. Okay, well, technically I could take it back. That's why I wanted to take it back in the episode. But technically it started with her reading the love scene out loud, right? She reads the love scene out loud. That's breaking down one barrier. Then, fast forward to this moment right here. And she's like, she starts with at the door. Knock on the door. Come in. That's one barrier. Door opens. I'm scared. I can't sleep alone. Can I sleep with you? You can see it was a boundary because every single time it's a boundary, it takes Kun Nung a moment to process what she's about to allow. That's how you can tell it's a boundary, right? When it's not a boundary, she just kind of like responds quickly. But you can tell that she's being very ginger with the boundaries here because she understands that this relationship could be seen as off-putting to a lot of people, even though they're both consenting adults. So she's like, okay. So Nung, the young one, is being smart and stealthily, and she's like, she was like, okay, knock on the door. Can I come in? Come in. That wasn't a boundary. Door opens. Can I sleep with you? She had to think about that. Okay, fine. Then she gets into bed. She says, I'm excited to lay with you, blah, 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 blah. And then she breaks another boundary more boldly was when, but that's only because she had to break when Kun Nung turned her back to her, she was establishing a really strong boundary. And so what Nung did was she had to use a strong barrier breaker in order to get through that ice, right? So she wraps her up, and then she knows that that's gonna probably throw Kun Nung off, and that's exactly what Nung does. Nung's like, yo, what you doing? And she was like, if you sleep with your back like this, I might as well be sleeping alone. And then that's when we get so on and so forth. And so this is the can you hug me. That's another boundary that she is breaking, a boundary of affection. You saw how she was reacting when she was just trying to give her a kiss on the cheek. So she knew that this was going to be like a huge boundary breaker and a huge like line crosser. And so she was like, okay, so she was like, can you hug me? You can tell again that it's a boundary because Kun Nung has to process what she's about to allow. So here we go.
เขาได้ไหม กอดเขาได้ไหม มากไปหรือเปล่า
And so she was considering her own boundaries, and then she goes, is it too much? Now she's checking. What Kun Nung is doing is after she decided in her mind that would be a boundary that she could allow to be crossed. Then she checks with Nung to make sure she's certain that she actually wants to cross that line. You see what I'm saying? So then she doubles back and she goes, is it too much? Because she asked it as a question instead of saying you're too much. Like she said the first time, she said, is it too much? she's checking to see, are you sure that that's not too much for you? You know what I'm saying? Because she's already decided she's going to let that line be crossed. Now the baby is like, let's cross the line.
แต่เขานอนไม่หลับจริง
And so she goes, but I really can't sleep.
ๆนะคะ
Please. That was confirmation that, nah, she had already decided she was going to let her do it, but she needed to see her be sure. That's why she's studying her the way
ถ้า
she is.
กอดเราจะหลับเลยใช่ไหม
And so then what's crazy, this part, I'm trying to tell y'all the nuance in this scene. So what's crazy is right here, she is like, okay, she let one boundary go, and then she kind of like erects a smaller boundary in between where she goes, okay, well, if I hug you, you're going to go to sleep, right? Already kind of trying to imply I'm only hugging you so that you can sleep. That's the boundary. That's the line that I'm setting, right? So then Anung, the baby, I keep saying the baby, but the young one is like, okay, cool, I can rock with that because at least that gets me in the door to being in her arms, right? Y'all, I'm trying to tell y'all this shit. The way they really broke this scene, or at least the way it breaks down to me, this was so masterfully written and acted out, bro. So watch.
ถ้ากอด
If I hug you,
เราจะหลับเลยใช่ไหม
that was a boundary she just set. Smaller one, but a boundary nonetheless. And then she goes, okay, so now she's going to make the allowance, understanding that they're both crossing a line here. Okay, this is a very intimate position. I'm trying to tell you, Nung was already, first of all, what you just do with your hand there. Every time I watch that part, I just be thinking about, actually, every time I watch that part, I think about Stupid Wife, when Louisa and Valentina were kissing, and Louisa was rubbing the back of her hand up and down on Valentina's, you know what I'm saying, trying to get her, you know what I'm saying? So every time I see this, I think about that, and I just be like, I know what you're doing. Like, I know what you're doing. Bro, she's so excited to be in her arms.
ไหนบอกว่าถ้ากอดจะหลับเลยไง
Reestablishing the boundary.
ยังไม่ชินมั้งคะ อีกแป๊บก็คงหลับแล้วค่ะ
She's just checking on her to make sure she's good. And she's like, I'm good. I just need to get used to it. That's all. Really careful. And again, this is why I say that people are just, even I wasn't prepared for what this show would be and how they would tell the story, because it is a very, very delicate story to tell. But I think that it has to be commended and it has to be said how often Kun Nung tries to establish boundaries and tries to affirm Nung's boundaries while also dealing with what she's starting to feel for her. You know what I'm saying? Or what she already knows that she feels for her. You know what I'm saying?
กอดอันหนึ่งแล้วอุ่นดีจัง ที่เขาบอกรักอันหนึ่งเชื่อไหม
Ooh, I love this part. She said,
ที่เขาบอกรักอันหนึ่ง
when I say I love you, do you believe it?
อันหนึ่งเชื่อไหม
Pay attention. This is another boundary. Kun Nung has been very vocal about the fact that she doesn't think that anybody is worthy of loving her, but also that it's hard for her to fall in love with anybody. You know what I'm saying? And so this is another testing that boundary, testing the fence that Nung is doing. She's so freaking, listen, she's like, when I tell you that I love you, do you believe it? That's her seeing, trying to cross another boundary. Do you believe and trust the love that I have for you, even though you have drawn a line in the sand that says nobody is worthy and you don't fall in love easily? Am I possible? And that's why she goes into the next part where she says, you know, so that means there's still hope then.
บอกบ่อยจนไม่อยากจะเชื่อแล้ว
She said, you say it so often, I don't want to believe it.
แต่ก็ยังเชื่ออยู่นะ
But I do. That's a lot. That's a boundary that they just, again, another boundary crossed.
งั้นแปลว่าเขาก็ยังพอมีหวังใช่ไหมคะ
She weaseling her way up in that motherfucker, bro. I'm trying to tell you.
นอนได้แล้ว
Now, here's what's crazy. If you
นอ
look,
นได้แล้ว
at P5's neck right here, dog. Her shit. Look at her neck pulsating right here, y'all. That's her heartbeat. So that should tell y'all that even though they were acting, P5's heart was like, doom, doom, doom. Oh my God. Okay. So let me go back to what I was saying. Because the throat throb throws me off. Throat throb is crazy. The throat throb throws me off every time. Look. I watched this already. I already knew about the neck. Y'all, here's the thing. This is my reaction and my analysis. I was going to get to the neck part, and I saw all y'all sitting in there commenting about it. I wasn't ready to break it down, and I wasn't ready to talk about it. I knew the moment where I was going to bring it up, which was the moment that it just came up. I appreciate you guys for always pointing things out to me, but trust my analysis first, and then if I miss something, we can go back and rehash it. Trust me and watch how I just let me react, bruh. Just let me react, okay? I appreciate you. Thank you for the gift, baby. But I ain't missed nothing. I'm very deliberate about the way that I react and I analyze. Thank you. Now she goes, let's sleep. She just established. So now after she realizes when she says that, yes, she was like, you say it so often, I don't want to believe it, but I do. That was another boundary line that got crossed. And then she goes, oh, and then Nung goes, so there's hope. There's still hope, right? And then she goes, let's go to sleep. So then she again put a little boundary right there. You know what I'm saying? That's okay, Christina. You're good, baby. Don't apologize. It's good because it wasn't just you. Your message was the one that popped up because it was the brightest, but it was a lot of people doing it and saying it. It's okay. I just want y'all to know that I don't miss much. If I let me finish the breakdown and then go back and be like, oh, Nikki, you missed such and such. Most of the stuff that y'all probably think I'm gonna miss, I'm probably gonna catch it. But again, I'm human, so I might miss something. Just come back. That's all. What's up, Rasha? Hey, beautiful. Miss you so much. What's up, baby? How you doing? Look how she was looking at her. She was like, am I ready to cross this line? Look at this one. So first she says, y'all have to understand what she did. I'm trying to tell y'all how she baby walked. She's the young one, but she's baby walking Kun Nung into falling in love with her. We saw how she walked down all her boundaries, right? We saw how she walked down her boundaries. Then she goes, when I say I love you, do you believe it? Kun Nung says, you say it so often, I don't want to believe it, but I do. Again, before she said, but I do, there was a pause. Again, testament and proof that was a boundary she had to cross, right? Every time I told y'all, every single time she has to cross a boundary with her, she hesitates, she pauses, she processes, right? And so after she says that, then she's laying there, and then she goes, that's when she, you know what I'm saying, she's like, okay, so there's still hope for me, blah 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 blah. And then she goes, let's sleep, establishing another boundary. So now that she knows that Kun Nung knows that she believes that she loves her, the next, which is the biggest boundary, is now, can you love me? That's Kun Nung's biggest boundary, is her ability to love someone, to fall in love and be deeply in love with somebody else. You feel me? Right, the way her voice cracked and everything. And Stephanie, the way her voice cracked, you could tell that it was a lot of emotion and fear, though. It was because she wasn't as confident. I felt like the fear, the emotion, the fear of rejection, the fear of like abandonment, there were so many things I feel like that were playing in her head, and her asking her, can you love me? She knew she was also asking Kun Nung to do what seemed like the impossible at this point. But from the moment she stood at that door, I'm trying to tell y'all how she walked this woman down. She walked her down, bro. Walked every single one of her boundaries down in like a 4-minute or like a 7-minute span. The last 7 minutes of this episode. Like literally. She said, can you love me? This is the last line across. And that's why she was like, I'm gonna go all out. She said, can you love me? And then she kissed her. to bro, this was the ultimate boundary push. The can you love me, and then the kiss, and then sealing it with a kiss, sealing the question with a kiss, and then waiting for her answer. Again, this was a major boundary, which is why she pretended to be asleep. Okay, she pretended to be asleep, but she wasn't asleep. She was processing, but this one had to be processed more than any of the other moments. Okay, so she was like, I cannot open my eyes right now. She was literally in her head, probably freaking the fuck out, but also realizing, I want to cross this boundary. I want to love her. I want to love her. This part, y'all, I'm trying to tell y'all, this part right here. Again, with the throbbing in her neck from this angle, you really see that joint. Like, major boundary cross right there. The major boundary push, I mean. And she's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to reject? She was waiting to see. And so she was like, okay. She didn't reject me. So I'm just going to tuck in here and wait and see. And then as she finally, she was like, I'm finna cross. She's like, yep. Yeah. Yeah. You can see it in Kunlung's, you can see it. So the moment that Kunlung opens her eyes and she sees her, you can see that Kunlung has already decided to love her. Even if she doesn't say the words, she already loves her. She looks like, she right there looked like she wanted to say it. Like, and it's like the hopeful fear in Yoko played this moment so well. The hopeful fear in her eyes. And then Kunlung had like this longing, but also this restraint. It was masterful. Damn it. Masterful. So do we think she planned to kiss her before she entered the room? No, it's not that. So it's not that conscious, right? When somebody is doing things like this, she's not consciously being like, okay, I'm going to open the door. I'm going to break that barrier. I'm going to break that barrier. That's not how it happens. It's just that subconsciously she knew the steps that she had to take in order to cross each line, and she just kind of moved instinctively. I don't think that she had the kiss planned. I think she might have been hoping for it, in the sense, like, you know, in a delusional, fanciful state of mind, like, oh my god, what if we kiss type shit, like some crush shit. But I don't think that she actually went in there like, I'm gonna kiss her. I don't think it was anything like that. I think that she was just very much intuitively and subconsciously breaking down Kunlung's barriers based on what she knew about Kunlung. And I just think that this scene was so masterfully done. And this is by far one of the best scenes I have ever seen. Like I said, in a web series, a show, GL series, whatever. I don't care. Name your genre of cinema entertainment. And I'm telling you, for me, this scene is just so amazing. Do you think that scene is going to continue next episode? Philippa, I think they would be doing a disservice if the next episode does not pick up right here. But I don't know how they're going to write it. Maybe it won't pick up right here, but they'll do it as a flashback because they have done that a couple of times. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But if they have to let this scene play out. If they let this scene be like this and then they jump and then we're just watching something else and it's like, what the? You know, even if they just talk about it, but they don't actually show it, I feel like they would be doing a disservice. That's just me. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? Guys, apparently the new episode will air on Sunday and not Saturday. Don't kill them. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, man. All right, well. I got you, Rasha. I'll check my messages. I got you, Stink. I got you. Where it stopped pissed me off all over again. Look. Anatomy of a Love Scene. Great job, Nikki. Love the breakdown. Thank you, Shakoni. I appreciate it. I love doing love scene breakdowns like this, and I do consider this to be a love scene. I love doing love scene breakdowns because it really love scenes to me test actors more than any other kind of scene. I feel because I feel like there are a lot of emotions that can be easily replicated, like fear, anger, excitement, joy, happy, stuff like that. But intimacy, like there has to be a genuine connection and chemistry between two people, even as actors, in order to conjure up any kind of real or believable chemistry. And the tension and the chemistry and the connection that these two women have off screen led to why this moment was, with so few words, was so full of energy and emotion and all the things. All the things. Also, Kunung movement with her hands on Anung's shoulder after the kiss. Yes, that's a great call out. That's something that I noticed was the brushing of her thumb, right? So after the kiss, after Anung kisses Kunung, watch how she like uses her thumb, like she uses her thumb to kind of like, you know, let her know that she was I can't tell if she was just like if it was just like a twitch or if she was letting her know that she was awake or if she was just trying to assuage her or comfort her in the midst of giving her a kiss, or it was just a response. I can't tell because it was so slight, but it's all these little things that come into play. So watch after she kisses her. Heart beating fast as hell, bro. Like you see her whole neck throbbing. All right, now watch Kunung's thumb after when she lays down. So she resets. That's fine, but it was. Oh, that's her eyes were already open. Okay, so her eyes were already open when she started moving her thumb. Okay, her eyes were already open when she started. And see that? Okay, so when she, because at first I thought her eyes were still closed. But when she opens her eyes, that's when. See, that's what I'm saying. It's the small things like that. That is even though it's so slight, that is a slight sign of affection and embrace and letting her know, like, if she wanted to release her, she would have. Instead, it's like she's repositioning her hand. She's holding her more confidently. She's just letting her know that, you know, in the smallest, slightest ways that she didn't reject the affection. I'm very interested to see where they're going to pick up. I am very interested to see where they're going to pick up from here because this could go in a lot of different directions. But I mean, they say that this is the last episode, so 6 episodes. I don't know if it's going to be like a mid-season break. If there are only 6 episodes in the season or 6 episodes total. They said that Yoko and Faye are signed on to do more projects. I said more projects. We want this one. I want the finished project. I want this finished. I don't care if don't do nothing new. Just finish I really want to finish this storyline. But you know, it could be that they got, even though it got a lot of great views and different things like that, it could be that they just didn't want to deal with the backlash of the May-December relationship. But I think that they did for the people that were hating on this show and didn't give it a chance, they really missed out on a gem. I think that this was so well written, so well acted. I think that they were very sensitive to the storyline and how it could be perceived from people who have experienced being groomed and being the victims of you know what. And I think that they did a good job showing that there is a difference. People who have an age gap, who are both consenting adults, can absolutely have a healthy, happy relationship. Even if it goes against certain social norms or mores or makes people uncomfortable in certain ways, the relationship itself can still be healthy as long as they're two consenting adults. And they take the time to understand each other, be patient with each other, and get to know each other as they are, not who they think each other should be based on whatever trauma they may have. And that's real with any relationship. But I think that they did a very good job of delicately telling this story in a way that isn't like just like overtly sexual or that makes light of the fact that this is a young woman who is a lot younger than her and does have mommy issues and abandonment issues and all kinds of different things like that, and how that can come into play and be a factor in the attraction there. But they did, like I said, a great job of being like, no, Kun Nung setting the boundaries and doing everything, but also recognizing that this person is getting just weaseling through the cracks in the wall and the brick wall in my heart, and she let her in. And it's, to me, it's been a very beautiful story the way they've told it, and I love it exactly how it is. They shouldn't change anything about it, and I hope they continue the story, man. I hope episode 6 is just like a break because they didn't think it was going to take off this fast. Maybe they should have released the episodes once every other week. That would have been terrible, though. I like the way Anung takes the lead. I do too. They hated before they saw the product. They did. And I had my apprehension. And my misgivings too because of my history with SA and what things I had been through as a child and everything like that. I had my apprehension. I did. Y'all know how I feel about stuff like that. But I also, when I watched the trailer and then I saw the synopsis of I said, well, let me see first. Because I'm very much a person, especially when it comes to art, which this is what that is. This is art. It's media art. I was like, let me see if this is going to tell the story, because there is a way to tell a story like this that is not predatory. And they to me, they nailed it. That's all I'm gonna say. To me, they nailed it. Don't have to agree with me, but to me, they nailed it.